Yeah. Woo. Wow. Let's go.
Good morning.
Untamed. Wake up.
First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Wake up, 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 wake up. Wake up.
It's right time to wake up. Big Shern.
Wake up, 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 wake up. Wake up. You better wake up from this dream.
Welcome. Fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Happening right now on this December the 3rd, 2025. What is it, a Wednesday? Appreciate you guys joining us today on this Wednesday.
Hump day.
Let us know how's it going. How's it going this morning? We got a special guest, as you can see. We'll be anticipating Miss Brianna Full from the Omaha Public School Board, and we're going to continue the conversation about the student lunch situation. And so anticipating her coming on. Highly suggest that you stick around for it. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. First and foremost, how you doing over there, buddy?
Doing all right. Feeling rested today.
Good.
Still trying to gather my thoughts. So it's just a lot going on, especially as you shift through all the news. But yeah, feeling good. Definitely looking forward to today's conversation. Of course, got some updates, as you know. So moving the conversation forward, and still thinking about next season. Really is where my mind's going. Actually, a lot of ideas kind of popping off about next season, and some things coming together. So yeah, that's where my mind is. But in the meantime, between time, feeling good. Also, kind of putting out some messages about chasing your dreams out there, everybody. 2026 looking like it's gonna be a good year for your boy. I'm just saying. Feeling excited.
Yeah, man.
How about you?
Same. I'm definitely excited about the plans that we got going on for 2026 and other things happening as well. Man, so yeah, feeling pretty good. Definitely feeling like it's middle of the week, kind of pushing on through. Not happy about the cold and the snow and the rainy sleet that's happening right now outside. We got flurries and rain, freezing rain that's going on. So watch out. It's about as warm as it's going to get today, which is somewhere around 26. It's supposed to go drop from there for the rest of the day. So I would suggest try to stay out of it if you can. That's all I can say. If you're in the Omaha area, it's not looking good outside for real.
Yeah.
But other places, I can see other places is doing good already. Pops is up saying good Wednesday morning and mad love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops. He ain't dealing with no rainy sleet out there. I'm quite sure. Michelle Moreno gives us a good morning. Julie Prinzer gives us a wonderful Wednesday. Also, Leah Keister says, "What's up, Wednesday? What's going on to you?"
Yeah.
Appreciate you. RG says, "Morning, y'all. Temps about to drop like my attitude tonight." Heard that.
Yeah. Heard it's supposed to get worse this weekend. I'm just saying.
Worse, bro. Worse. Marlon Harrison gives us a good morning, First Sky fam, and happy Wellness Wednesday. Appreciate that. And also, Sean McCarthy says, "Good morning, First Sky Nation." Hey, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you guys hitting us up today. Again, you're in Omaha, it is going to be cold. I highly suggest you kind of make some phone calls. There's people in my life that I give a call to and say, "Hey, might want to stay in today. If you absolutely need to go do something, let me know. I'll go brave it. But don't be out here slipping, sliding around." So. Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty ugly. But other than that, man, just happy that we're able to still get up here and do this kind of work that we can do like the post office, rain, sleet, or snow. First Sky still coming at you.
Man, coming at you.
So again, if you're just joining us, Bree Fool is going to join us a little bit later on the show. So do us a favor, share the show on your Facebook page if you can. It'll be pretty easy to do there. And if you're on YouTube, share the link to anybody who you think might want to engage in this conversation here. So we're looking forward to having a great conversation with everyone. And yeah, man, just appreciate everybody coming on through on a Wednesday for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. We don't have a whole lot of community updates going on. If you guys went to the One Omaha event last night that Kimber Snipes put on, man, if you didn't make it, you missed it. It was, excuse me, something special to see everybody in the room and see them give away their mini grants. To neighborhood associations, find out what these neighborhoods and community members and community organizations are doing with this money was really interesting. So it's everything from art stuff to giveaways to stuff for kids, It was really something else. So I'm sure that One Omaha is going to put out something to talk about some of the people that their grantees that they won those awards, and we can learn more about those. I just looked around the room and was like, hey, these got to be all partners now. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of potential there for that. So a lot of people are excited about what's happening in 2026. So yeah, if you missed that event, I highly encourage you, hit up Kimra, ask her how that went, see what went down. What's coming up though? Christmas in the Village is going down December 6th. This is happening from noon to 5, about 3 more days. So get ready for that. Start making your plans, get the family together and come on out for this. It's going to be, pretty extensive what's going on up and down, 24th Street here. So, as you can see, there's a lot of sponsors here. There'll be a lot of vendors and stuff out. A lot of things that you can do, singing and dancing, shopping and eating, having a good time with the babies. Noon to 5 on Saturday, December 6th. Christmas in the Village is going down. So I highly encourage you to get ready and check that out. I'll put this flyer in Friends of First Sky Omaha so you can study it in a little bit more detail. And I don't got to put my readers on to try to figure it out right now.
Man, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot going on there. For sure. Excuse me. A few more things happening. Of course, we got the Big Elk chili feed that's coming up on the 5th. Excuse me. So, yeah, definitely a support Brother Lavelle Wells and his organization, the Big Elk organization over there. This is a chili feed, but it's also a fundraiser. More information on that will be in Friends of First Sky Omaha as well. I believe RG and a lot of folks that are in the chat already are going to show up to this and get down on the chili feed. So shout out to Lavelle Wells for putting that on. And yeah, most definitely. Also new videos of Lanes of Change for Us is coming pretty soon. So highly encourage you to go check us out on our YouTube page. There's other videos on our YouTube page you can check out besides the live shows. So I highly encourage you to do that. And this is one of the series that we're working on right now, Lanes of Change. And part 2 of what we have here, the Lanes of Change Strategic Communication, is coming up soon. This is part 1. Part 2 is coming soon. So definitely want you to get down on that. And so, yeah, keep up with us over there on YouTube. Like and subscribe if you would as well. Man, excuse me. Woo.
Also, getting to you?
Yeah, man. A little bit. Also, shout out to Marlon Harrison for hipping us to this. North High's 3rd annual one-day toy drive is coming up. Drop off all donations at North High at the front of security desk during the school day on Tuesday, November 9th. So they got one window for you to come through on November 9th to drop off some toys. And again, this is not a trash drop off. Definitely drop off some new stuff in the package. Something that's nice that the kids really want to get down. New or barely used, as they usually say with those types of things. So I highly encourage you to do that if you're around the North High area. Then yeah, that's a good place to go drop off some things. Also, all the way until July, you can drop off tent, hats, and gloves. The tent, hat, and glove drive for the homeless community is happening at 2101 Woolworth Avenue from now until January. So they're collecting some very specific items here for you to be able to help some of the people out. I as soon as I saw this, I was like, man, thinking about the weather and just thinking about, man, even if you are able to receive some gloves, some hats, and a tent, it's still going to be real rough out there in the cold. If you're houseless. So, this is just a start, but yeah, please let's figure something out for them when it comes to this. Also, what's going on today? A town hall reminder. This is happening today. As a matter of fact, shout out to Senator Ashley Spivey. She's has her town hall. The last town hall of this year is happening, and it's going to be over at CHI Emmanuel Conference Center, and that's at 6901 North 72nd Street. That's going down tonight at 5:30 to 7. Dinner will be provided. You do an event around dinner time, you better feed people.
Yeah.
So supper time, 5:30 to 7. Town hall. You can register at her website, ashleyfornebraska.com, and definitely check that out and see what's going on. Especially if you're in her district, it'd be good to get down with her on that last town hall. Shout out to her for doing town halls. All people in the legislature should be doing town halls. So shout out to her for doing hers as well. Speaking of town halls, we'll be able to speak up a little bit about this OPPD situation at this town hall with Craig Moody. This is December 11th, 2025, 6:30 to 8 o'clock at the Catalyst, 4601 Catalyst Court. A lot of construction around that Catalyst area, but highly suggest you get there anyway, so that you can get down here with the town hall there and speak to the OPPB board of directors. about stuff that's going on that we already know about.
Yeah.
Been talking about for a while. Next season, Follow the Money is really going to be something, man. Like there's a lot of stuff building up to building up to this as well. So that's what's going on, man. I see a Cinder KML saying good morning and peace to you. Appreciate you. So see y'all on Christmas in the Village. Planning on coming out. Cool.
Me.
Michelle Moreno says, is the weather supposed to be bad Saturday? I heard it was getting worse. Yeah. Most def. RG says high of 36 on Friday. Good chili eating weather. That's right. That's right. I love it. Christy Nor gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. RG says calling for a little snow in the afternoon. Yep, on Saturday. Also, Legion Ireland says good morning. Hey, good morning to you. All right. Heather Williams says good morning, everyone. And also, Brother Penn is in the chat saying Moody trying to run cover for his job at Veritas. Don't fall for the NGO the NG okey doke. Okay, that's yeah, I love it. Yeah. We definitely need to be speaking up at that town hall for sure. I highly encourage you go check it out. There's just too many things that we need to be talking to OPPD about when it comes to this being a public utility and what that really means. What that really means for how they're operating over there in a big way. So definitely come speak up and get some strategic ideas going so that we can have some things to talk about when we show up for that. But yeah. I highly encourage you check that out. We got more community updates come. I'll leave those for a little later on in the show. But in the meantime, between time, buddy, what's on your mind today? I know we kind of all over the place a little bit with
Yeah. We are a little all over the place today, but it's all right, man. It's a lot going on, a lot to cover, and of course, that's what we're here to do is to cover what's going on, and try to get to the bottom of it together. Especially, really, our tag team right where you left off with the OPPD situation. Of course, as you see, you have the meeting on December 11th, but there's already conversation going on around this health risk assessment that they recently just dropped. I think we talked about it a little bit on Monday. I believe Senator. I know a few chat chimers were chiming up about it, but would definitely love to hear your take. Shout out to Melissa Wright and Channel 3 on the report for this. Again, OPPD releasing a report saying that coal units pose no health risk under federal guidelines. And of course, neighbors are frustrated in responding to the situation. So we'll kind of dive into this and, really what's behind it. I actually have, been having conversations with senators and a lot of attention, a lot of energy. Speaking of follow the money next season being pointed towards OPPD and what they're doing. Of course, we already talked about the whole data center situation. We're going to have to keep our eye on it. Again, it could possibly be impacting your bottom line, power bills going up, water bills going up, access to water going down. Yeah, let's talk about it. Man, speaking of development and access, access to the funds for the Omaha Inland Port Authority. That conversation is continuing. We definitely talked about that on Monday with Senator McKinney, who again drafted the legislation to even create the Omaha Inland Port Authority. And now we're seeing more information come out about how some of those projects will move forward, especially in the light of $11 million, possibly more being withheld from, again, the Inland Port Authority. What's going on? What's moving forward? What's not? We'll talk about it. Again, this is kind of the crux, the meeting point of Spaces, the place, and follow the money as we look at investment in places and spaces in our community. Where's the money going? Who is it going to? Yeah, again, we'll talk about it. Also, this something we have to talk about, man. I am myself, like, as I read these stories, I'm like, man, this is what's going on with this. Homeland Security. Again, we try to talk about things that are close to home, but yeah, there's some things going on with Homeland Security we got to talk about. They're getting kind of active, man. Of course, we've been keeping an eye on the McCook Clink, Cornhusker Clink situation, which of course is tied to ICE and Homeland Security. But now there's a new thing going on. I mentioned it on Monday. I asked Senator McKinney and Spivey about it. They said they quite haven't heard about it, but I got to tell y'all what's going on. Again, Homeland Security now has 4 Republican states signing up to send driver's license information for this new citizen verification program that they're surveillance, Paul. Ain't that what you been talking about it?
Listen, man, I just read something this morning that said you now have to have a valid driver's license to buy a car in Texas.
Really?
It'll be something. I actually want to get with some of the chat chimers that reached out about being a part, doing some work with us on doing a little bit of research on some of the things that's going on around the country right now that is equaling this kind of surveillance. I read another article this morning that says that there's a politician in Texas that's trying to get rid of dual citizenship.
Man,
and if you have it, then you got to choose which country you want to be in after a year, or you get your American citizenship revoked. That's the kind of stuff that they're working on.
Man, and again, we try to focus on local politics and things that impact our everyday lives, but you got to know Nebraska's, along with the foolishness, the powers that be in Nebraska will definitely gladly bring some of that stuff to our front door. And got to talk about it.
Well, that's the thing, man. It's not even about. It is local. It is very much. Whenever I read anything on the national level, they're really talking about the stuff that we're doing right here in Nebraska. It's kind of Omaha, center of the universe stuff going on, microcosm of the rest of the country, and in the heartland that they always are talking about these things changing and happening in. So it really is not even something that's outside of local jurisdiction. We're all trying to figure out, how to what we need to do about our passports. We all have to have the real ID licenses. We all this stuff. My family right now is trying to go get IDs because of all the stuff that is moving and changing with that. So this is all very local stuff, and we, like I said, we're in the business, so we're seeing hints of this here, stuff going on in this state, stuff happening over here, all these little things going on all the time, and we're not really pulling it together. I think we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to, because that's just this is what we're dealing with, and this is what's coming, or is already here, or happening somewhere else. It's a hot mess.
Yeah, man. And on top of that, food. Again, feeding the folks. We've been, of course, Paul mentioned we will be having Brief Full come back on, but we've had some conversations and got some updates about what that situation as far as feeding folks on the state level might look like, and we're gonna have to talk about it, man. Got to talk about it. So again, all that and more throughout the next 2 hours. If there's anything that we're not talking about, missing the mark on some stories that we just don't know about or aren't talking about, feel free to drop that into the chat if you feel like the people need to know. And maybe we'll dive into it. In the meantime, between time, I see the chat going off. We're about 15 minutes, a little past 15 minutes into this thing. Paul B.
Yo.
What's the word?
Don't forget, we do have Miss Brianna Full from the Omaha Public School Board coming through a little bit later on the show, so stick around for that. And tell a friend, share the show on your page, and share the link on the YouTube link as well. Anybody who you think might want to join the conversation. If you've been following along with us, we had her on last week, and she talked a little bit about the incentives that she was going for as far as school lunch is concerned. We had another member of the school board on, Miss Kimra Snipes, and continued the conversation. And today we'll continue it even more with Brief Full again. So still lots to talk about when it comes to this. We actually got a lot of information in between then and now. Actually spoke to Senator Michaela Cavanaugh, who Brief Full mentioned last week was going to push for universal school lunch. So, we got a lot of information that we should talk about here on that. So definitely come in and join the conversation, and we'll get into it. Appreciate everybody coming in this morning. I see a few people saying good morning to us. Donnell Sessions, good morning to you. Also, Mama Guy saying good morning, fam. Good morning, good morning. Also, RG is saying Homeland Security wilding out. You ain't lying.
Man, I'm gonna have to play that video. That video is crazy.
It is crazy. Another crazy video is what Archie put in the chat. Or in Friends of First Guy Omaha. Department of Homeland Security is now incentivizing illegal aliens to leave the country. Yeah, that's a crazy one. That's a definitely crazy one.
This is up there with the Trump poop meme.
There you go. I see Kenda Mustafa in the chat. 88373 says, I work at CIRA, Center for Immigration and Refugee Advancement, and we would be happy to join you to discuss some what's happening on how it impacts our local communities. Love to speak to you guys. I think your organization is doing great work, so we'll definitely put that together. Also, Majid Miller Jenkins in the chat saying, shutting down the Lexington Tyson plant. Of course, we talked a little bit about that the other day. Was followed up by a closing similarly in Texas. Nebraska is bellwether on economic impact. That's what I'm saying, man. This stuff ain't local no more. Everything is all local. It's all local. For real, for real. Linda Lathan giving us a good morning. Morning to you, First Guy fam. That's what's up. Kimmer saying good morning, y'all. Good morning, Miss Snipes. Also, Brother Penn says Majee, Nebraska is a bellwether for how to fail in a myriad of ways. I hear that.
Microcosm.
Microcosm, man. Marlon Harrison says, would they targeting white people who have dual citizenships? Yeah. Good question, because a lot of people who have dual citizenships can afford such a thing. Who's that going to affect? Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. See, we're getting into it. We firing it up. It's happening right now. It's going down 7:20. If you believe in the concept of time, we're right in the thick of it. We're going to jump into this conversation. Shout out to everybody that joined us this morning. We'll be right back. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll be buddy to God. Welcome back. First Guy Omaha in the morning. Paul B, buddy to God. Back again on a Wednesday. What is this? December the 3rd already. Man, it's New Year's, no time in a blink of an eye. It's going down.
You know it, man. Before you know it.
Once again, if you're just joining us, we appreciate you coming on in. We are expecting our special guest, Brianna Full, coming in shortly. So I highly suggest you stick around for that interview. Meantime, between time, let's jump into a few things that's on the agenda, buddy. What's first?
Man, we'll start off with this OPPD story, man. Definitely been seeing a lot of activity, a lot of chiming up, a lot of community getting vocal on this. So, man, kudos to y'all who have, stepped up, chimed up, and making some noise about this, because this is something that does impact all of us. Actually, big shout out to those who responded to our survey. We put out a survey earlier this year as far as what news, what kind of coverage would you like to see as an audience, and many people responded kind of overwhelmingly with environmental news. And again, in the season of Space is the Place, hitting home again. What is the space and place that we call home, especially environment? Again, something that impacts everybody regardless of economic station, location, wherever you are. It's not like the coal plant air just stops miraculously at North Omaha. It spreads over everybody. Of course, we're more impacted in North Omaha, but to have this health risk assessment come out and pretty much tell people that not to believe their eyes, not to believe their own lived experience, that people don't know what they're talking about. It's kind of mind-boggling, especially when it helps no one. Again, this is something that impacts everybody, so being dishonest about it is interesting, to say the least. But again, shout out to Melissa Wright and Channel 3 for the report. Again, the North Omaha neighbors are saying that the OPPD report raises more questions than answers. According to the article, a new OPPD commission, a health and environmental assessment, has left some North Omaha neighbors frustrated, reasonably so, saying the findings arrive at a critical moment just as the utility weighs whether to delay the long promised coal to gas transition at the North Omaha Power Station. For residents like T. Michael Williams, who has attended numerous OPPD board meetings and private briefings, the timing feels like a setback. The utility had previously said the remaining coal units would be transitioned by next year. And if you remember, it was supposed to be transitioned by this year, or actually, by next year, but they kicked the can down the road. And now lawsuits and other reports later, it's looking like that can will be kicked even further down the road. Again, according to the assessment, it concludes that the Omaha Metro remains within EPA limits for all monitored pollutants, and the units 4 and 5 pose no health risk under federal guidelines, which, again, we talked about this on the show. It's kind of the whole point of this show is media literacy and, to read between the lines, because there's a lot of double speak in legalese and political speak and a lot of this stuff. And let's just call it what it is. Just because it's meeting EPA guidelines doesn't mean it's not killing us. Just because the federal guidelines say, hey, yeah, y'all can do this, this is enough, doesn't mean it's not killing us. So just to say, yeah, we meet federal guidelines is not enough. It's not enough. I mean, it's the same thing with the whole lead situation. We spoke to Mr. Steve Zivney about, the lead remediation that we've been talking about this season. And of course, they're doing what they can and what they are set to do to EPA, standards. But even he said the EPA could lower those standards and they would have to do all those yards over again.
Wow. I forgot about that.
So when we talk about standards, whose standards are we really talking about?
Yeah, it was enough to say. I think it was enough to say back in the day that government entities had these standards and we would stay up to them. But it's proven over time that those standards are always below, below the bar, below what they need to be, and we need to have another set of standards to go by. Interesting.
So the 11th, I don't really know how much more conversation it is to be had about this. Definitely love to hear your take on this assessment, if you will. Looks like Brother Penn is in the chat saying again, OPPD is a racist entity. It's time for black senators and other black Democrats to stop giving Eric Williams cover for poisoning us just because he's a Democrat. And again, Eric Williams is one of the board members, but it's not just him.
There you go. Board. Kimber Snipes in the chat says, I had an interesting convo with Commissioner Rogers about OPPD. We were meeting about One Omaha, but that was the entire discussion. So this is something it'd be interesting to hear what the county, the commissioners have to say about this in the county. We always talk to the legislature, but what do they have to say? The commissioners definitely would like to hear that for sure. Brother Penn is also saying the data is very flawed. They use a 100-year model for methane measurements instead of the 25-year standard. They measure a larger area to reduce the levels of emissions in more localized areas. Yeah, that's Melissa Wright did a great job on her piece. I highly suggest you go follow Channel 3 on your social media because she posts a lot of full articles, full pieces on Channel 3 on social media, and she said it in the piece. She said it's real convenient that this new study came out right as this is happening. She brought Mike Hilgers back into the conversation, saying he, this is the person that's trying to sue OPPD to keep the coal. Real convenient that all of a sudden we got these reports that's saying they're really not doing a lot of health damage to anybody in Omaha and anybody in North Omaha. Crazy. Kicking the can down the road was contingent on the fact that they were admitting that they were the emissions were hurting North Omaha, and this is why they were making these changes. And they actually made some coal to gas changes already previous years because of this very thing. All of a sudden now it's a different story. Not having it.
Right. It's the same story. And, again, we had mentioned earlier in the show, and this is kind of going to be a theme really throughout today's show, because that conversation impacted a lot of what's being reported today as far as our conversation with Senator Michaela Cavanaugh. And look out for that content coming in following weeks. Going to be putting that together. But yeah, again, we did sit with Senator Cavanaugh yesterday to have a conversation. And a part of that conversation was the fact that she emphasized what this is really all about. The state is going broke. At the end of the day, and this is something that Senator McKinney and Senator Wayne tipped us off to a couple years ago, told us to look out for, and now we're seeing the mad dash. The state is going broke. And changing over to gas, as they say, is too expensive.
Plus, they need to keep on actively courting these super sites of these data centers. Thank you. And they need to be adding to it in order to make sure that these data centers can come. There's a lot to it. Big way. Brother Penn says the shell game to keep burning coal to accommodate data centers and big tech. A total recall for OPPD is coming soon. Stand by. This is definitely going down. We'll continue this conversation. Like you said, enough conversation. Brother Vaughn Chapman in the chat saying enough. Where's the litigation? Litigation. Kimber says that not just Eric Williams, but Craig Moody too. We just said definitely highly encourage you hit this town hall and have a little discussion with brother Moody on December 11th at the Catalyst. Definitely check this out. We'll put this in Friends of First Sky Omaha. I really appreciate everybody who is paying attention to this as well. Also, I see Christy Norris saying those EPA guidelines have been changed. It's such BS. You ain't lying. Carol Warner giving us a happy Wednesday. Appreciate you coming in this morning. Also, Tamara
Yeah.
Dwyer in the chat saying federal guidelines are a minimum required. A community standard shouldn't be the minimum in the first place. Thank you.
That part.
Yes,
And
minimum required reads to me like if they could lower it, they would.
man, it's
Yeah, man.
just microcosm, man. Just microcosm. Like, because the more I think about this issue and this story and just this whole thing, I just saw a clip. If you know, what is his name? I just drew a blank on the rapper's name. He just dropped a show. Vince Staples. Vince Staples was recently talking in an interview about environmental justice, and he was telling the story about how he's the only person in his family with asthma because he lived across the street from a refinery plant in Compton, an oil refinery plant in Compton, and he would sleep with his window open, and he passed out one day and woke up with strapped up to the machines and everything. And I'm just really thinking about, man, the impacts, like sisters and brothers. I'm thinking about my cousin in Omaha who was in a coma because of an asthma attack.
Oh,
I'm
bro.
thinking about, man, the
Everybody-
situations down here.
Everybody in my family that lives in North Omaha has some upper respiratory situation going on from being here for years.
Man,
Yeah.
so just the gaslighting and the cognitive dissonance, like trying to constantly tell us that what we see, what we experience is not what's happening. Like,
Right.
don't believe your eyes, don't believe it's all nonsense, it's not really happening.
There you go. Good day, Lisa Cooper. Thanks for coming in. It's 7:31 right now. We'll definitely pick this conversation up and continue on with it. In the meantime, between time, we got our special guest waiting in the wings. We're going to take a quick break and come back and have her come in. Ladies and gentlemen, Brief will be here in just a second. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll be Buddy the Gawd. We'll be right back.
Christmas in the village at 24th and Lake, where the love runs deep and the memories are made. From the Big Tent boutique to the cocoa we taste, everybody's welcome. It's a holiday embrace, yeah, we celebrate, we elevate, laughter in the air. It's Christmas in the village.
Man. Welcome back. Someone here jamming like Christmas in the village. Come on with it. Paul B. We got Brianna Full in the chat. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good. Was that AI music or was that an actual artist?
Man, I need to find out.
Yeah, I would
you know
love
what?
to know.
You know what? Dang, now that you say that.
It was a little
It was so specific, and I've been hearing a lot of AI music on TikTok, and it kind of sounded like it. I'm not gonna lie, but
It was
if it's
a
a
little-
real artist, but that's great. But
It was a little clean. It was a little clean for sure. It had me going, who is this?
right.
Because I know a lot of the artists in town, and I'm just like, who made this? So yeah, very well could be. Good thinking.
She just hold on, man. She just blew my mind with that one.
Buddy needs a moment.
I'm in the studio. I'm in the studio. That's a real thing. Everybody's using AI in music. Like, you just kind of blew my mind with that. And again, right before the break,
I was wondering how you felt about that, about like AI music in general.
I mean, I'm not. Again, we're talking about OPPD, the data centers. I'm getting to a point actually where I kind of talked about this. I think one local organization had a Thanksgiving. We showed it the flyer on if you remember, had the sausages with the AI. Yeah, that flyer was kind of creep me out. I'll be honest. I'm getting to a point where I don't like looking at AI stuff. It just,
Yeah.
again, it's going back to this cognitive dissonance that we deal with in this country. Like,
Mhm.
don't believe your eyes, don't believe your ears. What you see and hearing, it's not real.
Man, listen, we haven't been talking about this, but there's AI art out there that is nightmarish and evil. Looks like to me, like there's some stuff that happens with AI art that I'm just like, this is beyond like surreal. This is some way out stuff. Pops in the chat, another music expert saying, "Nice Christmas in the Village Jam." It does sound like AI.
I
Yeah.
think it is. I think it is. Yeah, I
Well,
think
Well,
it is.
either way, it sounded good, but it's just that ethical question of like we should be supporting real artists, right? Not computer artists. So
there's a big movement in music right now where it's all about the authenticity. They don't mind the mistakes in the recordings. They want to do everything live, and so yeah, there's always going to be a pushback when you got something like AI happening in the music industry. Then the authentic artists are going to come back with the opposite of that. So that's also something that we can really get into just as much.
that's interesting. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
really,
cool.
it's a direct connection, especially to what we're bringing you on to talk about today. Yeah, because the
Yeah.
reality of it is, where's the money coming from? Where's the money going? The state we've been talking about on the show has kind of tipped off that they're interested in pursuing data centers, enticing, bringing data centers. Again, Nebraska becoming the first state to issue a digital bank. So they're already moving in the direction of investing in data centers, investing in that industry that we already know doesn't yield any jobs. At the same time, cutting, childcare, cutting mental health and special education programs, and like we're seeing services that we actually need being undermined left and right. So let's talk about it before we really dive into what we learned yesterday during our conversation with Senator Michaela Cavanaugh. Where were your thoughts? Or Paul, where you want to pick up the conversation? What are we thinking?
Well, what I'm thinking first of all is that Miss Full hit us the other day saying she wanted to come on and continue this conversation. So I kind of wanted to pick up where you felt like you wanted to continue on with the conversation that's happening. We had a little conversation with Senator Kavanaugh. We asked her about her push as well. So we got a little bit more information there. And of course, we had Miss Kimmer Snipes on the other day as well. Got a lot more information there. So what did you learn? What are you seeing? How do you want to continue? Is where we can start.
Well, sorry to derail the conversation in the first place about AI, but I just thought that was so
No, that's what we do here. That's what we
We
do.
hear.
Yeah,
okay.
It's all
Well, I just wanted to basically give updates, and then I think I said I was going to bring some more information about the budget as well. If people had any questions, I can answer them as well. So, I think to start, I'd like to update about my resolution, if that's okay. So, unfortunately, it does not have the support, obviously, of the leadership. And so they're not going to put it on the agenda and we're not going to be able to vote on it, which is, sucks for me, sucks for, I think, the kids who need help. But we were able to have a couple follow-up meetings after we kind of realized that we weren't going to, work on or vote on the resolution anymore. And I had that meeting with a couple other board members and with administration, and they basically agreed to a couple of follow-up things. So let me look at my notes, make sure I'm not getting anything wrong. So they are going to follow up with food services and school counselors to make sure they're informed about free and reduced lunch programs. The superintendent is going to meet with OPS research staff to discuss a possible parent/student survey at the 21 schools that do not qualify for CEP or the community eligibility provision, which means every kid in that school gets free lunch.
Excuse me, real quick, Bree. Do me a favor and hold your mic out a little bit so we can hear you a little bit better. There you go. Perfect.
Sorry,
Thank
can
you.
you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Way better.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, those are kind of the two big takeaways. I don't know if you heard me or not, but okay. So those are the two big things that I think I was able to work with administration as next steps. So you know, I am happy with those operational steps, but I still think there's more that we can do on the system level to address this issue. And it is going to be like a fight. I'm not going to lie, like trying to figure out how to make sure that something like universal school meals can be funded, whether that's through local tax dollars, you know, Omaha Public Schools dollars, or whether that's through the state, or I doubt it's going to be through the federal government because they're pretty much dismantling like all benefits and programs and stuff like that right now, especially when it comes to education. So it probably won't come from the feds, but we have to figure out a sustainable way to provide universal school meals to children because right now it's just, I would say, crisis level. It has been crisis level for several years, but like I said, we used to have universal school meals for like 5 years, and then we went back to doing it how we used to. And so that means about 6,000 kids are paying full price for their school lunches in Omaha public schools. So we have to figure out a way to feed those 6,000 kids, basically.
Yeah. So my question about your resolution, after you were able to speak to some of the rest of the board and some of the things that you kind of heard Ms. Snipes say on the other day as well, just thinking about the federal dollars that got taken away, which is the reason why this went back. Is there any changes that you feel like you can make to your resolution that reflect a little bit of a different plan in order to reintroduce it to the board?
No, they're not interested in any part of my resolution. They actually, in an email that was sent yesterday, they don't think that any kid is going hungry. They actually said mission accomplished, like we feed every kid in OPS, no kid is going hungry. We haven't received any reports from our admin or our staff or food services about kids not eating. So obviously everybody must be eating. That was one of the big things that came out of that meeting that I had with admin, which I totally disagree with. Because that, I mean, I've received emails myself from the parents that I forward to the administration. So I don't know why they're saying that no kid is eating, because I literally get emails from these parents and then I forward them to the administration. And a lot of those situations, the parents actually already qualify for free and reduced lunch, but it's those weird barriers that get in the way to applying for the program in the first place that make it hard for kids to access food. And so I'm hoping that as a district we can, you know, study how to reach those kids, but also I just think we would be saving a lot of time and money if we just paid the universal school lunches instead of doing this whole like research thing for these 21 schools, which is like I said, I think we could be using our time in a lot better ways, especially since we have such ambitious goals to get every kid on reading level by 2030. I think we need to be making every effort. All of our resources, all of our, you know, everything needs to be going into doing that and not into doing things like collecting school debt. And, you know, I asked the question to our administration, how much time do our administrators in schools spend collecting school debt? How many notifications go out to their families? Like, what kind of effort are we actually making to collect this school debt? Because I want to know how much time that is, because if they're spending a lot of time on that, I just don't think that's I just don't think it's a good way to spend our time. So I also wanted to touch on those budget cuts. So yes, there will be $30 million less that OPS is getting from the state next year, but
From the
it's
state?
also from the state, from
Really?
NDE. Yes.
So not only are they missing the federal dollars, but now they're going to miss 30 million from the state as well.
I think it was coming from the state all along. So NDE kind of like disperses the federal, no, just disperses kind of the funds in general. So we get some of our funds from obviously like the local tax levy, and then we get some other revenue streams that make it so we can fund our school system. So I think it's just the state dollars if I'm not, because it's our TIOSA formula. It was a miscalculation of our TIOSA formula, which is our state funding formula. So it's state
Yeah.
funding dollars.
Yeah, that 30 million.
Mm.
Yes.
So
And so, oh,
no,
go
go ahead.
ahead. So that's going to be definitely a hit, but we already have basically a plan set up, which is not ideal because it means that we have to raise people's property taxes. But if we have to raise property taxes to kind of make up for this state's mistake, then it's what we have to do, because that $30 million is going towards paying teachers. You know what I mean? It's not something that we can cut out of our budget. So we have to be able to make up that money so we can continue to pay our staff and our teachers and make sure that our students are receiving a good quality education from their teachers who are properly trained, properly paid, and can show up every day for our students. So we are, as a district, trying to potentially find ways to cut money this year. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about that, because there have been talks, and I heard this from Brian Mayer, or Maher, which is um, the education commissioner on NDE's board. So he said he's going to work to completely change the TIOSA formula, completely change the school funding formula this next year.
Mm.
And so we have no idea what that is going to look like for OPS. We don't know if that is going to mean less money. We don't know if that's going to mean more money. It's so much uncertainty when it comes to the plans around a new school funding formula. So I personally don't think we should be cutting things quite yet because, in theory, I don't know if this is going to happen or not. In theory, we could be receiving more money from the state based off of a new school funding formula. So I don't think that's going to happen, but we just don't
Yeah.
know, we just don't know what's going to happen. And I don't think we should be cutting things quite yet based on a plan that we are not sure of and are not sure how it's going to impact the district, because some of those cuts mean real impacts to education. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not necessarily going to push back, but I do want to ask a question and hear. I'm curious as far as what you think. Hearing what you're saying, do you really think, or how can I phrase this? Because what I'm hearing you say is there is no real certainty how much money the OPS the district is going to have, which is a difficult thing when trying to convince people to spend more money on feeding families. I understand the why. I definitely understand it, and commend you and think that families should be getting fed. But I'm just curious as far as what's really happening. What are we really like? Where is the money?
It's a great
Yeah,
question.
Where is the money?
isn't there a fund? Isn't there a fund that's sitting there as well?
When you say where's the money, can you kind of expand on that
Yeah,
a little bit?
yeah.
Like
I'm not even
what money
talking
are you
about
talking
just.
about?
I'm talking about taxpayers' money,
Mhm.
just in general. And you're talking about, we're going to have to raise property taxes in order to do some of these things simultaneously while the governor is hell bent on lowering property taxes. Like it seems like everything that you say we need to do in order to feed the kids, the state is hell bound on doing the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, it's going to look a lot different next year, and property taxes is going to look different. The way that we're able to levy property taxes is probably going to look different. And so it's just, like I said, it's just a lot of uncertainty. But I don't think that in the face of uncertainty, we should be okay with things like not feeding kids. Because that's just unacceptable to me. I think we need to find a way to do it, because I've been doing so much research. Other school districts in the state of Nebraska, across the country, have figured out a way to do this, whether that means using their own funds, whether that means working with the state so the state can provide the funds, whether that means working with a private foundation. Like, they find a way to do it. And that's what I think that we need to do. I don't think in the face of uncertainty and fear that we need to be backing down on our principles. I do think that we should be collaborative and working with the state and senators, especially like Michaela Cavanaugh, who are interested in introducing legislation to provide universal school meals. But absolutely 100%, we cannot be backing down from this issue, even though it costs a lot of money, even though things are uncertain.
So I want to back up here a little bit, because it seems to me that the issue is whether or not it's real simple to say we need to feed kids. There's a problem that their kids are not getting fed. It sounds to me like there's other people that are involved here that don't feel that maybe we need to figure out whether or not there's a problem according to what everybody thinks the problem is in the first place. You're saying kids are not being fed. Other people on the board are saying kids are being fed, and that's not a problem. So I need to back up a little bit here, because earlier you said that you sent mail out. You were sending emails out to, you said administration. So when you say administration, are you talking about school administration, or are you talking about the board? Because addressing
when,
Kimber,
when I say administration, I mean school administration. So like a lot of the times that obviously means our superintendent, Matt Ray. That means our financial persons, our CFO, Shane Ryan.
right?
Yeah, so there's like a couple different administrators that we as board members regularly kind of interact with, and they're like
pull that mic out again.
and they're like the top level administrators. So
right, the ones that can make some moves there on actually moving some stuff. Okay, because in the chat, and Kimber said that every email you sent board secretary followed up with them. Also, I haven't seen an email from yesterday. Me not caring about it, not true. So she's saying when you said I had that thought too for a second when you said you were sending these emails to administrators talking about the kids that are hungry. Those are not the same emails you're sending to the board. And earlier you said that the board doesn't feel like there is even an issue with kids not getting fed, and that was some of the
in our meeting. I mean, Annie McFarland, who is our board secretary, she brought up that specifically. The fact, I mean, it's not like board members aren't aware of these people. Like in the meeting where these board members were, we talked about the fact that I sent these students and their parents to Annie, and then Annie followed up with them. So I might not have sent the parent emails directly to the board members, but I mean, the board members know about them. We talked about it in a meeting, and so they can't say that they don't know about it.
Okay. So to me, like number one, in order to really kind of work on getting everybody on the same page, it seems like we need to understand that there's a problem and what the problem is, and there needs to be some data that supports that there are kids out here not eating, and a system where if you get approached by kids that are not eating or families that are saying their kids not eating, it can go somewhere where everybody can see where that is and they can do something about it. When Kimber was on the show, she said that they have things in place already for kids that are not eating. So if they become aware of the problem, they already have things in place where they can solve that problem. We all have talked about it and understand that doesn't necessarily mean kids aren't going to be falling through the cracks for that as well. But to me, like if we're looking at some ultimate solutions here, we need to look at what solutions are already in place, and we need to understand, all be on the same page about whether or not there's a issue or a problem in the first place. So how many kids aren't eating? How many kids?
I think we were able to get to that understanding of how many kids don't get free and reduced lunch, so who are paying full price. So we understand who those kids are. We just don't understand the ones who are dealing with food insecurity issues. And I have actually worked with the Legislative Research Office with an interested senator. It wasn't Michaela Cavanaugh. It was another senator, because I've talked to several who are very interested in this issue. But I worked with the Legislative Research Office, and they were kind of able to give me a better idea of the students who are still facing food insecurity, whose parents don't qualify for our programs. And that's about 50% of those students. So 50% of 6,000 students is still 3,000 students who are food insecure and whose parents don't qualify for our food assistance programs. So I think we were able to reach an understanding in the kids that are still paying full price. Whether they accept that 50% number or not is, the administration's and the board members' own prerogative. But I do think that they should be studying this research like I have and be able to make determinations like that, because there is so much nuance to this issue as to why people don't qualify, or as to why they don't fill out the application in the first place, or everything like that. There's just so much nuance to it. I think that trying to identify all 3,000 of those students who are food insecure, who are still paying full price, is going to be so difficult. And it's going to cost us a lot of time and resources as a district. So it's kind of trying to figure out how to weigh a good balance or a good in between of, making sure that we're being fiscally responsive with our taxpayer dollars that we're spending, but also making sure that these students, these food insecure students who are still paying full price, have an option or are, just making sure that they are able to eat every day and that they're not accruing any student lunch debt that makes it, embarrassing, or it weighs on them and it's heavy. Because when that happens, we know that it's much more difficult for a child to learn inside the classroom. So we have to find that balance. We have to find the solution. We have to find a way forward. And I am definitely committed to doing that. I do think, like you said, Paul, it starts with acknowledgement of the issue. And so, like I said, that's why I'm advocating for these 3,000 something kids who are paying full price, who are still food insecure. And I'm going hard. I'm not backing down. So we have to figure it out. I do think we will figure it out. It's been difficult this far, but like I said, I'm not giving up. And I don't think, I do think there's a commitment to the kids from the rest of the board members, obviously. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on the board. They wouldn't be board members. So we're going to try to figure this out. We're going to try to get to the root of the problem, try to all get on the same page about what the problem is, and how we can reach those kids.
Karen Warner is asking a good question in the chat for a little more clarification on this. She says, are students literally not getting fed if their accounts aren't funded, or are the parents accruing debt because they can't afford to fund the student account? So again, when you say kids aren't eating, are they literally just not eating at all, or are they eating a sack lunch and then the parents accrue the debt?
Like I said, it's there's a lot of nuance. So I was told if a kid goes through the school lunch line and they don't have any money on their accounts, they still get a school lunch. It's just they accrue the school lunch debt. But if a kid knows that they don't have any money on their school account, they don't want to go through the line in the first place to be told, oh, you don't have any money. It's just like an embarrassing thing. Like I said, there's so much nuance to the situation. So I'd say, yes, if a kid goes through the line, they will get a lunch. Not every kid goes through the line because of embarrassment. So that's kind of where the issue is.
Okay. So with that, I can see it being why that would be difficult to identify those students if they're themselves are choosing, not to eat, because and that's understandable. I've been there. I've had to have, it's very akin to jail food. I've been in jail and I've had to have a sack lunch. It's not much different. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. It's not much different.
Yes, but that is also something that I've been talking about a lot with community members, the quality of OPS's food and kind of the things that we're doing to address it. So that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, it is. And I do want to acknowledge that, because Marlon Harrison did ask that in the chat earlier as well. He says, what is the plan on getting better and more healthy options for lunch? But I think this goes to the larger conversation in general about the money. And I put it out there earlier. As I mentioned, we did speak to Senator Michaela Cavanaugh yesterday, asked her directly about, the possibility, the prospect of getting statewide universal lunch. And she flat out just said there's not enough money for it. The money is just not there.
The state
the money
is
that
in
is
like
there,
$400 million deficit this next year. So yeah, they're cutting things.
State's going broke.
Right. And the money that is, rather use it to entice data centers and do other things. But when there's a SNAP freeze, they're not going to use the millions of dollars that they have in emergency benefits to feed kids.
Right.
So there is that, reality. And I am curious, we talk about Omaha being a microcosm of the nation, and looking at the Trump level and undermining of the Department of Education, and they're splitting up those funding, like those responsibilities among many departments. I think all of it's up in the air right now, and I think with that said, my question to you, and I kind of asked it to Kimra in a different way, but I'm going to pose it to you this way: how much responsibility or what role do you think that schools should have in just feeding, making sure that families have access to food, or dealing with food insecurity? Because I think it's beyond just the school lunchroom, like what's
Mhm.
happening at home. If we're
Mhm.
talking about school debt, then why can't families just pack a sandwich? Like,
Mhm.
what's really going on, and
Mhm.
how much can the schools actually do about it, in your
Mhm.
opinion?
Yeah, I think about that a lot, about not only the school's role in food insecurity and making sure that kids are fed, but in other ways, like with their mental health or with their basic physical health. Like, we have a lot of health centers in our high schools because of that reason, because we
Mm,
believe it's our role to um, holistically address, the whole child. And when a child comes to school, they come to school with a backpack, and a metaphorical backpack. And there's a lot of things in that backpack that might make it hard for a child to show up at school. And so I think some of our role as a school district is to help unpack that backpack. So
mm,
we can do things like make sure that they're fed every day, make sure that they have access to a school counselor or a school psychologist that they can talk to if they're going through something, make sure that we offer checkups and screenings at their schools to make sure that they're healthy and they can show up to school every day. So I do believe that the school district plays a very large part in making sure that students receive a lot of their basic needs, especially when they have to be in that place for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Like, I do
right.
think that it is our responsibility to make sure that child is provided with what they need, whether, like I said, that's like healthcare or mental health care or food.
hmm Okay. There's a lot of conversation going on in the chat. Of course, we want to. I want to. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I'm seeing some of the things, some of the takeaways. Linda Lathan was talking about the embarrassment that kids are having. We talk about that a lot too. Those are some things that's hard to put on the page. Like you said, how many people are even not going and get in that line because of being embarrassed about that, and just having that stigma. And so a lot of what you're pushing for is to try to not just feed the kids, but also get rid of these stigmas, and make it all equal for everybody, just to be able to go get the same lunch. And then after we do that, then we can start attacking the what is for lunch, and is it healthy,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also seeing, though, after speaking with Kimra Snipes, and also speaking with Senator Michaela Cavanaugh, that there's some things that have to be done now as well. So
Yeah.
we're holding two things here. We're holding what needs to be done right now with the circumstances and the money that we have, that we're dealing with, the shortfalls and so on. That's when I'm hearing Miss Kimra Snipes talk about solutions, about shifting funds here and there, because there are some students that can't afford to purchase their food, and why shouldn't they, if they can afford it. And so we're looking at solutions that have to do with actually, like, getting kids fed, and there's a little bit of just a philosophy difference in, like, let's not just talk about the getting kids fed, putting food in their mouth, but let's also talk about the psychological damage that happens when they get stigmatized for not being able to have a hot lunch, and so on and so forth. So I'm definitely seeing that there's two things we got going on. You're going hard on changing the system as a whole to address all of the situations that would cause kids to fall through the cracks. Whereas when I was listening to Kimra speak, I was hearing Kimra speak more about the details of what's going on with the funds, the budget, what's going on with individual kids. While right now, if kids are suffering, then we got resources and things that we can get them. We just need a better communication system to be able to show what kids are hungry, who's hungry, who's slipping through the cracks, and so on. The people that she's talking about feeding aren't those ones that are standing, or hesitant to go get in line because of embarrassment. The ones that are falling through the cracks, and so on. I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that if kids are hungry enough, then he's going to go get the sack lunch or whatever it is there is to get if he's really hungry. We're talking about hunger, but sometimes kids will go hungry because they're too embarrassed to get in line, and so on. So you're right. The nuance of this conversation is really coming out thanks to you coming on and checking out your resolution, and also Miss Kimber Snipes coming on and looking at the data that she's also bringing, and just trying to understand like where there's a separation. So I'm hoping that we can try to solve both problems at the same time, like hold two things at the same time, which is push for what it is you're talking about. Because yes, that would solve a lot of problems. Just besides feeding kids, it solves a lot of other kinds of problems for everybody to just be able to go up and get some lunch at the same for free. But there's also the realities of what's going on with this budget, what's going on with the federal funds getting taken away, state funds that are getting taken away, how we have to balance and juggle, how we have to in black culture we sometimes we can't pay MUD because we got to pay OPPD right now, and we just have to MUD got to be late, and all the stuff that happens when you have to shuffle things around because of the circumstances here. So I'm thinking if we can think of it that way, there might be some solutions that we can figure out that are holding both things in the same space.
Yes, and I am committed to doing both of those things for the record. Like I said, we did come out of that meeting last week with some follow-up that administration is going to do. And hopefully, it didn't sound like Jane was too supportive of this, but doing that survey at those 21 schools on the parents and their students to kind of determine those gaps and barriers. So I'm very interested in doing something like that. I think that's a real solution that can be done quickly, but quickly is the key word, because there's a lot of bureaucracy that happens within the district, and a lot of priorities and red tape and other priorities that we have. So that's also why I'm kind of like pushing so hard on this, because I know that things can kind of just like get lost in the sauce really when it comes to OPS. Yeah, pushing for the food insecurity stuff really hard, committed to short-term temporary solutions, and also committed to the long-term solutions for things like universal school meals.
Yeah, I think long-term is really the same thing, getting the people in position and seats that will spend money on families and people who need the money, and not on $600 million lakes and data centers, and we kind of already know what that is. But I think the short term, there is something swirling in my mind as far as, and this, I think we've had this conversation before, as far as OPS teaming up with community organizations and having after school programs. And I do agree that because students spend so much time in school, 8 hours, not to mention, maybe 10, 12 hours once we get into extracurricular activities, sports, programs, things like that. How much engagement, or, how much of a coalition is being built between OPS and other outside entities, community organizations, to help supplement and fulfill those things and help those families. Maybe, the schools can be a hub, but not necessarily having to fund everything or man all those positions. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting concept. I think we've already did it. We already did it during COVID, it's, and that's my thing with a lot of these ideas that I have. It's like, we've already done it. Like, we already did it. I know it's something that we're capable of as a district. During COVID, every school practically was a distribution site for food. And we partnered with the community to make sure that our community partners had food for the kids there too. So, and we made sure that our community partners, we have after school programming, and I know this because I was one of the school educator school assistant educators, things like the Big Garden, where they go into the school and they teach the kid about healthy cooking and how to make your own salsa and how to make sure that you get a balanced diet every day and that kind of stuff. So I already know that we have community partners inside of our schools working. I already know that we've done things like having school food hubs in the past. It was just under a different administration. So maybe they're reluctant to do things the same way. I don't really know what what the issue is there.
Well, let me jump in here because that the issue is the money, and this is what we got to keep going back to. When when COVID happened and those programs were there, the ones that you say we did before with federal funds, and
No. So with our food hubs, like that was money that was already coming out of our district budget. So I mean that food we were going to provide to the students anyways because they just weren't in school anymore. So we had their parents or whoever come up and we were paying for that food. We were paying for that food with our own money. That was not federal dollars.
there were federal dollars that were available after COVID for that got applied to school lunches, and one of the reasons why it was universal lunch for everybody was because of that, and those dollars got taken away. And that's what some of the issue is. We have to kind of figure out what happens now after those dollars got taken away. Now you're teaching us here today that some of the state dollars are also going to get taken away. We understand from what Kimra Snipes came on and told us about when she came on her show. We understood that the difference has been funds that have been taken away on the federal level that has changed up the way that lunches have to be dealt with now. So since we don't have that and we're not, that's going to be an issue. So yes, we've done it before and we can try to find a solution. I'm not saying that we shouldn't try to find a solution to do it again. We got to do it again, just in a different way, because like you're saying, this administration is not really going to start sending those dollars this way again. It just has to be done in a different way. And yeah, we can find that out. At the same time, I'm hoping that we can find out, we can also use what we got to fix what we need to fix at the same time. So we're past that part of the conversation. You agree, like, hold both things. Let's try to figure out both things as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
like I said, other school districts in Nebraska have already figured this out. I'm looking at Tamara Dwyer's comment. I don't know about OPS because I'm in Ralston School District, but Ralston still does weekly food distribution for families in the district. So, I mean, they figure out a way. They figure it out, and I think that we need to figure it out as well. There's so much nuance and, there's issues with the budget and stuff. But you find a way. Just like these parents find a way to get money on their kids' school lunch books because they don't want the kid to go hungry. It's like, you're going to rob Peter to pay Paul. You're going to ask for that $50 from grandma to get put on the kids' books in order to make sure they eat and make sure that they get what they need. And as a school district, I think it's the same concept. I don't think we should be robbing anybody, but I do think that it's disingenuous for us to say that there isn't a way forward, because I know that there is. It's just we have to be innovative. We have to be open-minded, and we have to be up for the fight, because this is not something that's going to fall into our hands. It's something that we're going to have to fight for, that we're going to have to constantly work towards, and just basically advocate for the foreseeable future, because this is not something that's ever going to end. Like I said, we have to be able to stand on our principles, and we have to be able to fight. And that's definitely something that I'm willing to do. I am a fighter, whether I like it or not. That is just how my brain works. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Sounds good. What's next steps then? What's moving forward? What's going on next for you?
So, like I said, we kind of have those follow-up things from the administration. So they're going to be making sure that everybody is aware of the programs. I'm pretty sure everybody is aware of the programs already. But they're also going to potentially, hopefully, fingers crossed, be doing that research study on those 21 schools. So that's what I'm going to be pushing for. Like I said in the email that I received yesterday from Jane, she's sounded not interested in doing the research study. So we'll see. But like I said, we do need to find some of those short-term solutions. And I do think that research study could be a good start. But like I said, it just needs to happen quickly, because I just don't want things to get lost and for kids to be slipping through the cracks in the meantime while we figure out our stuff.
Yeah. I'm with you on that for sure. I think, like I said, we're at the beginning of this conversation, we were talking about that. We really need to determine how many kids are not really, getting fed, in order to satisfy some things. We could skip past doing a whole bunch of studies and just understand that some of these psychological benefits of people not having to deal with no money on their books. It's funny that we call it money on your books too, man. School is such a prison pipeline
I'm telling
situation.
you.
Put some
I'm
money on
telling
your
you.
kids' books so they can
I'm
eat.
telling you.
So you can eat
And
their ramen.
that's what it is.
But anyway, yeah, just getting satisfying, not just satisfying people to understand that there's a problem, but also to reach the kids that are actually having the problem in the moment. But also, yes, it would be a great idea to have some studies put in place there to be able to understand the whole problem, not just the food problem, the psychological problem, so on and so forth, in order to get some movement happening there. You mentioned before too that you spoke to you were down for backing Senator Kavanaugh's play for Universal. She I don't know if that's happening with her. Have you been able to speak to her or any other legislators that will push for that kind of bill? Is there anybody else in the legislation that we can back on that?
I think it's going to be a larger conversation of the TIOSA formula. So it's not necessarily just Senator Kavanaugh's universal school lunch bill. It's going to be what this new school funding formula is going to look like. Because it could be that the state decides that they're going through the funding formula, they're just going to provide lunches for the students who don't qualify. Like I said, I don't think that's going to happen, but there's just so much like I said, there's just so much in the air. And so it really comes down to being aware of what's going on in Lincoln come January when it comes to their plans around changing the school funding formula. What is that going to look like? How do we make sure that OPS receives the resources that they need in order for our kids to thrive and get the education that they deserve? So I think that's kind of where we're headed in the direction now, because the TIOSA formula is so confusing and there's so many variables that go into it. And the fact that we're going to be changing that now does have larger implications on every school district in Nebraska, but definitely on OPS. So we have to, we just have to remain vigilant. We have to keep advocating for what we know is important for our kids with, just obviously our normal kids, our kids with learning disabilities, our kids who are non-citizens, who come from other countries. Like, we have to be able to stand on business for all that kind of stuff. And I think that also comes into play with this universal school meals thing. So I can't imagine that's not going to be part of the funding conversation when it comes to school meals next, when they're having those conversations next session.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but also adding into the conversation the whole private school voucher situation. And even though that was it went to the ballot, the people spoke, there's still efforts from the Pillen administration to, kiss up to the Trump agenda and still push that, trying to find a roundabout way to do that. So that's still also in the background. And I think in general, what we're talking about and what we're seeing isn't just unique to OPS. I mean, let's, talk about schools in Detroit. Let's talk about schools in Cleveland. Let's talk about schools in New Orleans. I think, there is a concerted effort to make sure that certain swaths and groups of this nation, corners of communities don't have access to quality education just in general, which, is not unique to OPS. So there is that. And as a result, it's not necessarily a last question, but just, kind of doubling down on my whole idea or just thought of engaging community organizations. I know Kimra in the chat says there is a list of those organizations. I'm wondering, can that be expanded? Where is that accessible for the public? What gaps are in those lists? Because it does seem like we all know just the wheels of democracy turn slow, and this board process, the OPS public school process, are a part of those wheels of democracy. And we really want some action. The reality is we're going to have to do it. We as a community are going to have to figure out, first of all, who's not eating and how can we help them. I mean, that's the same conclusion I came to last time. It's the same conclusion I'm coming to today. Nobody else is going to save us. We as a community have to find the people in our community that's not eating. And whether it's a school board, we can support ideas, we can give ideas, but we going to have to figure it out as a community. So what it sounds like.
Yes.
Feed the fish, but also change the pond. So you're on the changing the pond side. I appreciate you. Any last things you want to leave us with before we let you go today?
I did want to acknowledge our transgender and queer kids too. Always, always, always fighting for those students. Those students are incredibly important to me as well. So I didn't want to leave those students out. Somebody commented about that.
Honorable
But
population there.
yes, but I completely agree with you, buddy, that we as a this is a larger community issue. This is not OPS unique. We're not unique in this way where we struggle with things like this. So as a community, we need to come together like other communities have and figure out how we're going to address food insecurity issues. However, I do hope that you can put a little more faith in the school district. That's the word I'm looking for. I know that historically, you know, a lot of our marginalized kids get left behind, and that's just, I mean, it's unacceptable, but that is the history. But I hope that you know that regardless of, you know, the way that the board members are acting or how we feel towards each other, we are all incredibly committed to making sure our kids get what they need. And I hope that you can trust the school board to listen to you and also to try to address things.
Well,
Yes.
I got more trust in the school board than I ever have with just you and Kimmer Snipes being on it alone. There's some more trust I need to dive into with the administration. This administration is we had to work through a little bit of trust when the superintendent got hired. You know, we still got to work through a few things because it's not just the board that we're dealing with. But I definitely think I also have a family member now that is a new teacher in the OPS, and so I'm you know, coming around to a little bit more faith in OPS just because we got y'all in there working. We got some black women in there working, so that always gives me a feeling of maybe something get done in here. Here we go. So I appreciate that. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming on. I hope we move the conversation a little bit more. And obviously we're not done, so we're going to continue to have this conversation. We are coming up on our break. We're going to be off air on the 15th. We're going to pick it back up on January 15th, and it's going to be the follow the money season. So to me, this whole school board conversation needs to continue on because because it's a natural progression from, you know, where we are with spaces and places and what's going on with school lunch and, you know, and where's the money coming from and what are we going to do? Like Buddy's saying, we need to do it. Where are we going to get the money to do it? So we'll have to have you on in that season as well to continue on talking about this and giving us some updates on OPS stuff as well. So appreciate you coming on. Sounds good. Sounds good. Before we let you go, anything fun happening this weekend? Anything getting in anything good?
This weekend?
Want somewhere to listen to some AI tunes or anything?
Honestly, the fact that I actually do like some of this AI music like kills me inside. But yeah, I probably will be doing a little of that this weekend, scrolling TikTok, listening to AI music. Sorry, buddy. But other than that, no, I think I'm looking forward to next weekend, actually. There's a lot of real fun stuff going on next weekend. I'm also on the board of Skatefest Omaha. And so they're having their annual end of the year fundraiser on
Skatefest.
Yes, on the 13th. Are you aware of Skatefest?
Oh, heck yeah. That's the
Oh,
homie.
yeah. Blake freaking rocks. I love Blake so much. So that's going to be next week, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. It's like one of the best parties of the year, and I get to see everybody. And, you know, Blake is just able to shine. He's such an awesome person, and he's doing great work with Skatefest Omaha. So I'm excited for that for sure.
Put in the word for us. We've been trying to get him on the show for a while now, so let him know. Come on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, we were on a meeting last night, so I'll definitely let him know.
Sounds good.
All right. Nice.
All right. Appreciate you guys. You have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Peace. All right. Hopefully we moved the conversation a little bit more as well. Appreciate everybody's comments. I didn't get to everything because obviously there's some comments that or some conversations that need to happen, not just in the chat, but Kimmer is put it out there. Give me a call. We can always talk to Kimmer directly and get some information as well. I'm sure Bree is fine with that as well. And yeah, appreciate everybody's comments. I definitely think that it resonated with people that is that sometimes it's embarrassing to have to deal with like school debt. It's embarrassing to have to deal with whether or not you're going to get a hot lunch. You go up in line and you don't know if there's money on your books, and you find out there's not. Sorry, you're not paid up. Here's a cold sandwich or whatever. You know, like I can
It's
imagine.
like that.
I can
It's
imagine.
like that.
So, anything before we go to break? Anything standing out in the chat that you wanted to give some light to?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Miss Wanda Lewis in the chat. Giving some love to the teachers. She says that a lot of teachers actually spend their own money for school supplies and projects. And man, a lot of times I go to Walmart, grocery shopping, or might be buying pencils and stuff for the kiddies at home. And you always can see a teacher or two going through those aisles with a basket full of stuff, and that look on her face, like you just know, like, man, paying out your own pocket, huh, man? So definitely big shout out to the teachers out there putting in the work. Also, Kara Warner, appreciate. Good morning to you, sister. She says we need a solid parent union to advocate for their students' families as well. Maybe we could identify those students that are going hungry during the school day as well. So I think just in general, in general, it's the both and. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we have to figure out how to make this government work for us. Like, we have to. Why else are we paying into it? Like, what else is the point of being in the bands of society if we all have to fend for ourselves? Like, what are we doing? I ask this question a lot. What is the point of society if there's no mutual aid, if there's no mutual benefit? What relationship do you stay in that's not mutually beneficial?
What's the point of government? How is if government is supposed to keep its people safe? What's the point? What's
the point? So while we figure out how to get people in place that actually get it, that will use the money that we give them in our tax dollars to help us, not, these aren't handouts. Let's make that clear. They're not doing us a favor spending the money that we already gave them on us. It just makes no sense. But anyway, while we figure out how to make that happen, we're going to have to figure out how to do it ourselves together.
Mm-hmm. This is real. We always come to that point in the show when we get towards the end. We got to talk about what are we going to do? We depending on organizations and depending on all nonprofit organizations and everything to do stuff. But what can we do to solve some of this stuff? We always got to get to the solution side. Before we get out of here to the break, I just wanted a couple things that was standing out to me in the chat was something that Wanda Lewis said earlier too. It's not just food when it comes to OPS. Parents are responsible for sending everything on the list, including Kleenex to wipe their nose, copy paper for homework, assignments, etc. The school contribution is minimal, if at all. You asked a question earlier about what should the school be responsible for? We mentioned, and what stood out to me was this thought: kids are required to go to school. You're in trouble if your kids. So if you're required to be somewhere, and you're gonna be there for 6 to 8 hours or however long you're gonna be there, it's courteous to take care of the folks that are there for that reason. Any meeting that we go to, anything, we just said something about what was it? It was Ashley Spivey's event that's coming up. She's got an event, town hall reminder. Senator Ashley Spivey's town hall is going to be an in-depth look at progress made during 2025 interim and offer a preview of the key issues she'll be championing in 2026. This is happening Wednesday, December 3rd, which is today, at CHI Emmanuel Conference Center, 6901 72nd Street. This is happening at 5:30 to 7, and we said it when we showed this earlier. 5:30 to 7 is supper time. What's underneath that? Dinner will be provided. I'm just using this as an example of if you are required to be at somewhere for a while, then you should be giving access to the restroom. You should be given water. You should be given fed according to how many hours you're going to be there and so on. And it really shouldn't be an issue. And if these kids are required to go to school, then I think the school is responsible for a whole lot of how they get taken care of during that day. They got they got a place where the nurse is at if you get hurt, medical facilities, all kinds of stuff. Because if you're there and you're required to be there and you're going to be there for some hours, then to me, it should be up to them to do that. Now, we know that this is easier said than done. They get their money from property taxes. A lot of the money they get is from property taxes in order to be able to take care of the school budget. So it's still coming from us. And there should be, and we got people on the board here that are there to say, to listen to us and say, this is where we want that money to go. So, we're right in the middle of that. We're dealing with that. These are elected officials. These are an elected board, and that's there too. The other thing that stood out to me in the chat was Kimra, who's saying we cannot measure what's going on with OPS with other school districts. It's a different situation. Yes, we got to find our own solutions for this particular school board, and it's not enough to just say other school boards do this, other areas do this, we can do it too. In general, on the universal level, yes, that's true, but we can't use those solutions sometimes. Solutions is not always the perfect fit, so we got to find our own solutions, and I appreciate that. That's a lot of what Kimra is talking about and what she is putting together there. So those are a couple things that stood out to me and a few other things too. We're not going to get to everything in the chat, but we appreciate you guys are continuing this conversation and going back and forth and trying to gain some understanding here on that. There's going to be a lot of feelings when it comes to this, because we're not just dealing with whether or not kids are getting fed. This is a very nuanced situation. So I appreciate that. Anything else before we go to break real quick, buddy?
Nah, I think that's a good point. Spent about an hour on that conversation.
We did. Spent a little time, but it was good. It was good. If you missed any parts of that interview, please go back and check it out. Brianna Full had a lot to say. Again, continuing the conversation about school lunch. And I see Annie in the chat. What's up, Annie? Shout out to Annie Butler in the chat. Appreciate you. Yeah. Be easy. Easier than said than done. That's right. It is easy. Everything is easier said than done, for sure. So hopefully we'll get to some of the doing part of it, not just the saying part. It is 8:30 already, if you believe in the concept of time. We'll take a quick break and come right back again. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All Beeee, buddy to God. All of you chat chimers. Appreciate you chat chimers chiming up today. The people came in, and I kept on saying Brother Penn, but that's actually Anthony Rogers Wright that's talking about. So that puts a whole new context on who was talking. We'll be right back. Stay tuned, y'all.
Christmas in the village at 24th and Lake, where the love runs deep and the memories are made. From the Big Tent boutique to the cocoa we taste, everybody's welcome. It's a holiday embrace, yeah, we celebrate, we elevate, laughter in the air. It's Christmas in the village.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm over here jamming to it too. Like, ooh, that AI cooking right there. That AI cooking. Christmas in the come on with it. It's too clean. It got to be AI. If we got an artist like that in Omaha doing that, then they need to be hollering at you, buddy.
I'm about to say. Hey, we working on some hits, man. Hey, if that's a real vocalist in Omaha, holla at me.
Hey, man, maybe it's Timberland's might be Timberland's artist.
Oh man,
holla at Timberland. You might be able to get on the track.
Oh yeah, I don't know, man.
Build me a data center so I can build me an artist.
I don't know. I know Brother Myron doing the AI music. Maybe that's him. I don't know.
Hey, bro. What was the first one I was aware of that had me like, this is a trip? It was BBL. It was BBL Drizzy. BBL Drizzy.
Oh yeah.
Drizzy. I was like, yo.
I mean, I saw Pops earlier in the chat. He had said, it's coming. It's the AI is there's no different than the beat machine. And I mean, when you really think about it, auto-tune is kind of AI.
Man.
Auto-tune is AI. Let's they're artificially intelligent pitch correction and modulation, and
Straight up,
Anyway,
nobody can sing, bro. Madonna couldn't sing back in the day. Nobody can sing. And
hey,
Jennifer Lopez can't sing. Nobody can sing. They all use it. T-Pain had to turn it off so he can show people he can sing. Because T-Pain they were like, well, he can't. All he does is get on that. But yeah, Pop says it's inevitable. Just like electric guitars, sampling, drum machines, and loops were fought against in music. AI will be accepted and become a permanent part of our musical landscape. Trust me. Sure, I believe it. I heard, like I said, though, we artists, we already know that we are doing a different thing when it comes to, artists are always going to come back with the authenticity.
man,
So one way or another, the human element is going to shine through, and that's going to be a deal. But it's going to run right alongside all the rest of the mess, bro. So hey, Christmas, feel it.
hey man, we in the Matrix, man. Let's just call it what it is, man. It's the real people fighting against the fake, man. That's where it's going. That's where the money is going. Music industry is already invested in it. It's not just the music industry.
That's real. I see some new names that I haven't seen before. I see Sharice Gregory in the chat. I appreciate you coming through. Also, like I said, I've been saying Brother Penn, but that's Brother Anthony Rogers Wright in the chat. Appreciate that. See you guys going back and forth. Great comment, Kara Warner. Brother Pena Veta Dennis is in the house talking about it as well. Appreciate you coming through. So talking about school board again. It's not such a cut and dry issue as we are finally getting to today in a big way. I missed a comment. Linda had a comment that I was trying to reach to, and give some honor to as well. I appreciate everybody that joined in this conversation for sure. It's definitely one of those situations that got you feeling a certain way. She says it's embarrassing. Also, you got parents like pressured, and the kids can pick up on it too. My oldest started trying to skip lunch, so I didn't have to pay like it's a real issue. The kids are unhappy. It creates such a toxic environment. What happened to the USDA reimbursement program? That's a good question. But that's interesting that she brought that up too. Like we didn't just talking about the embarrassment that kids are having too, but like even her oldest is a young brother that feels that responsibility, kind of taking care of his family. I can already kind of see that about him, and he wants to save his mom from having to pay it if he knows she got it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much nuance when it comes to like the psychological aspects of this. I can see why the ideal situation was just make it equal for everybody for sure, but we also got to deal with the reality of the situation. And so I'm glad that we have the different people on the board that can dig on both of those issues as well. Right. So,
and the reality of the situation is, we have leaders and, people in positions of power that try to act like anybody who's asking for help is asking for a handout, and anybody who's asking for help is lazy. And, there's all these tropes, this welfare queen trope that we know. And, transitioning into the next story, that's wholeheartedly after we spoke to the senators, the energy, the mentality, the intent behind what's going on with the Inland Port Authority. Again, the Inland Port Authority was an entity that was developed to combat these very things. So people in the community can start businesses, can build business, can develop themselves professionally, and level up their lives economically, financially. And now that is being undermined. Let's just call it what it is. Again, we spoke to Senator McKinney on Monday, who said that, basically the state just doesn't want to send the funds, although they are legally obligated to do so. And shout out to Tim and Molly Hudson for reporting on the issue. Again, the Inland Port Authority and their drought, and really trying to find a way to move forward in the light of this move again under this entity being undermined, and also
you good?
What's going on with the? I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. You're good.
Oh, and also what's going on with the of course the conversation around the airport business park, which is not only supposed to help people build business themselves, but bring in jobs for those who are just looking for a job. But again, all of that is still up in the air years after it being developed. Mike Maroney, who's the president and CEO of OEDC, which is behind the business park, is saying that there are some changes. He says in Q1 of 2026, the airport business park will have another public meeting, and that public meeting We'll talk about specific ideas for properties that they have options to, break ground on to build this thing up. Also, there's some reports about that changing. Of course, it was initially supposed to be a one large area, but according to a report from Nebraska Examiner and Sidney Gonzalez, it might split into multiple hubs, and one might be to build innovative housing. And the team behind a long-awaited business park again project, fueled by a $90 million grant, now envisions it rising on 3 or more separate sites. Again, going to the failure or the inability of these entities to find land. And again, that's tied, or not necessarily tied, but coinciding with or parallel to, I guess is the word I could say, this whole, again, holding of the $11 million from the Inland Port Authority, from the treasurer. And that's just not it. Again, we spoke to Senator McKinney, who tipped us that it could be, upwards of 30 million within the next couple of years. So again, trying to figure out what this is, but I think we have to get into, and we will as we get into following the money. But I think a lot of what we're seeing is we're witnessing a heist. I think we're witnessing a heist as far as tax dollars goes. Where is the money going? Why are the programs that we, because we're still paying taxes. I don't know. I'm paying my taxes. I don't know about y'all, but they're still taking the taxes out. So the money ain't stopping. So where is it going?
'Tis the question. We'll have to keep up on some of the information there as it goes. I would love to have this brother on as well. Not just not just Port Authority, the business park, and all the things that are going on. Need to hear a little bit more about it and what they're going for and trying to build there. And there's still ways to suggest building what to build there. There's been town hall meetings and stuff like that that's going on. And of course, we keep up with Senator Terrell McKinney, who gives us some updates on those things too. But yeah, we still need to know a little bit more about what's happening. And it's really unfortunate that this money is getting held up to get it done. They work so hard. They're trying to get that money to get it done. Crazy that it's getting held up now over ridiculousness. So we'll have to see how this goes. It's really the bottom line. I think there's going to be a lot of litigation happening in 2026, is from what I'm hearing the rumblings of, on a bunch of different levels. We just talked to Senator Michaela Cavanaugh last night about some situations that it's like, okay, did they break the law? We're going to have to figure it out. Big way. RG said Broligarchy is messing with Buddy's mic. Yeah. you have no idea.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, man. Them windows, bro. The windows. I'm trying to tell you, they jack us up every time. But we're gonna keep up with it. Keep on bringing that information. We appreciate you joining in. Let us know what you think about this issue as well. And what it's easy to just be like, well, the litigation needs to happen, and that's the bottom line. But what else needs to happen? Who else do we need to talk to and call on this? We already got a senator that's in there fighting for it. What else can we do? We have to kind of bring back to that. But I appreciate that sentiment as well. Marlon Harrison said our tax money is going to DT's ballroom and his rich friends.
So it's looking like.
Come on, where the money going?
So it's looking like
heist for real. Yep. 8:42 right now. If you believe in concept of time, we still got a few more things that we want to jump into here. That's related to these things as well, buddy. Am I wrong? Am I right about that?
Yeah.
I really want to get to this statement because you were going along a thread here about people feeling like everything is a handout, and just what this state is even doing. And then it brought up this memory of you telling me about this statement that Pillin made that I kind of wanted to get to too, because that was pretty heavy. Just in showing how it is that the state is thinking. We already know that he's in the same realm. He's been endorsed by Trump, so we already know that a lot of the actions, a lot of things that's going on here is that. But while we're in the midst of trying to find money for these things again, we're also sitting in the middle of this heist with this program dollars being pulled back all the time too, and it just was a reminder for me like what the powers that be in this state think as well. So you got that handy? We can pull that up. I kind of wanted to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. To that point, this is 27th, Nebraska Examiner article talking about the SNAP gap. Again, Nebraskans help Nebraskans in an almost special session. Actually, this is something also dealing with Senator Michaela Cavanaugh, who sent a letter again in mid-November, responding to the SNAP situation, the possibility again that families weren't going to have SNAP, and calling for a special session. This was actually one of the things that Senator Kavanaugh tipped us off to yesterday during our conversation, saying the fact that and this is going to my question about where's the money, like what's going on with the money, because again, Senator Kavanaugh said that Pillen is supposed to have a $100+ million emergency fund to spend on things like SNAP, which is something I've been saying here on the show, something he elected ultimately not to do. Again, directly saying in this article from Nebraska Examiner, we, the state, are not going to provide SNAP benefits, pure and simple, if the federal government doesn't. Later on, apparently he has in the article, he's quoted from a phone call. Apparently he has a monthly call-in show in which he spoke to a caller about this issue, saying, he says, I'm not old and long enough in the tooth, or excuse me, that he is old enough and long enough in the tooth to remember when neighbors and churches helped one another, a better model than government involvement. He repeatedly said Nebraska would go back the way we used to do it years ago before the government got involved. Again, just echoing the grand old party trope or sentiment of laissez-faire government, low government involvement, low government oversight. Again, he went on to say, unfortunately, you're living in isolation, and talking about when people use SNAP. He says the bad news of SNAP benefits, unfortunately, you are living more in isolation. Nobody knows you need help, and it's hard to ask for help. He went on to say to another caller that in response to the caller saying saying that the government, it can't really spend the money, saying it's a cop out. His response is, if you just stand there and think the government is going to solve every problem, no, that's not a cop out. A pun intended. Thinking the government is going to feed everybody is hogwash. Again, per Pillen. So yeah, I definitely agree that the government can't solve every problem that people have, but to do nothing, for the government to do nothing.
Yeah, that sounds crazy. That sounds crazy.
And this is in the midst of, again, in response to millions of families potentially not being able to get their SNAP benefits.
Well, first of all, if the federal government doesn't do it, we're not doing it. It's directly opposed to other states that are saying, fine, if the federal government's not doing it, we will take state money and make sure that people are fed. So
Exactly.
that statement is crazy in the first place. And then also just thinking about what world do you live in, bro? Where we're supposed to walk around telling people we need help all the time. It's a total disregard for human beings, how human beings work. When you need help, do you always go ask for it? Do you always let it be known? I don't understand that whole sentiment. You're in isolation if you're getting this help, then you're in isolation. None of the community knows you need help. Why does the community know we need help all the time? Like what? Where are you coming from with this logic? Nobody in your whole world acts like that, except when it comes to big business and getting handouts that way. No, personally, you don't go to your neighbor like, hey, we're hurting for food right now. Would you help us out? Sure, neighbor, that's what we're here for. What world do you live in, bro? What are you talking about? You don't think that there's other people out here that don't have families and resources and need help? Like, what are you talking about? Why would these taxes? It's incredible.
I think what the big part that they're missing is the fact that the neighbors also, like, you can't rely on your neighbors when your neighbors also need help.
Here's Ariel's 402. Sounds like
You can't rely. Go ahead.
your internet's lagging there. Ariel's 402 saying sounds like hypocrisy. More taxes and less government involvement. It sounds like hypocrisy for real. How you don't get subsidies, bailouts? Like what? I don't understand it. RG says Trump barely wants to acknowledge Pick Me Pillin. Didn't he jack up his name on a shout out? he really running after. He's really dealing with the Trump effect. Really running after him. And yeah,
So
he did
on
get
that note, then
Go ahead.
well, finish your statement because I was
No,
gonna
that
pivot.
was it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because on that note of the whole pick me peeling, kissing up to Trump and what that means for our backyards, for things coming to Nebraska. We got to talk about this Homeland Security situation and Homeland Security pressuring states to send driver's license information, voter registration information to the Trump administration for this whole verification program, this save verification, citizenship verification program that they have. And yeah, it's getting kind of crazy, man. Just in general, Homeland Security is just out of pocket. But I've been talking about this really for about a week or so. This was reported late last month by Jonathan Shorman in the Nebraska Examiner. Again, Homeland Security wants states' driver's license data for sweeping citizenship program, and it is now being reported by Nebraska Examiner that 4 states have actually signed up to do this. 4 states have agreed to do this. Of course, they're all Republican states. The commitment from officials in Florida, Indiana, Iowa, our neighbor, and Ohio comes as part of a settlement agreement filed on Friday in a federal lawsuit. The lawsuit was originally brought by the states last year, alleging the Biden administration wasn't doing enough to help states verify voter eligibility. And now the Trump-led Homeland Security is now pushing this SAVE program, which is a powerful citizenship verification program, again known as SAVE. Earlier this year, federal officials repurposed the program into a program capable of scanning millions of state voter records for instances. In return, the states have agreed to support Homeland Security's effort to access the National Law Enforcement Telecommunication System, also known as NLETS, which is an obscure computer network that typically shows law enforcement agencies allows law enforcement agencies to search driver's license records across the state. So in an instance when you're pulled over by the police and they take your driver's license and they go to their car and they, look you up on their computer, what they're looking up is that NLETS program. And again, the Trump administration is trying to gain access to that program to then put your information into a national database to verify citizenship or whatever else they're trying to verify. And you put that in, with this whole idea of the Office of Remigration, birthright citizenship in question. What's going on in this nation and what does that mean for so-called black people in the future and our ability to be here? The Negro problem is still not being solved. And again, we've already talked about Bob Evnen and officials with Nebraska thinking about considering sending out voter information. Not too far fetched to believe that they will also send out this driver's license information.
Well, I mean, they already kind of started this with this whole real ID situation as well. And then, like I said, we've been hearing reports of them certain states trying to take away dual citizenship, making it so that you can't have dual citizenship. Some states doing things like you have to have a valid driver's license in order to buy a vehicle. There's so many things to keep track of around the country that is along these lines too. They're just really trying to gather. And we got to remember that we also got to be talking about the entities that our current administration is tied to that is doing nothing but gathering all the data on us. And that's what this is. This what this is coming down to. And then we also got to throw in this whole follow the money part with what's going to happen if they try to get rid of physical money and everything goes crypto. There's just so many things that we are seeing here that are concerning, and we see a lot of different groups coming back and trying to fight this, which they got to have the information first in order to fight it. But that's what it really is all about. So we're definitely putting it there. Like Pop says, the less they give us, the more they have. Follow the money.
Man,
incredible. It's 8:53 right now. Go ahead and wrap this up. I can see that you got a. Let's go ahead and you want to share this.
Yeah, man. This is the last tidbit coming out of our conversation from Senator Kavanaugh on Monday or on yesterday. Again, if you remember, Monday, Senator McKinney kind of roundabout way said a senator went to the McCook-Clink Cornhusker facility and wasn't able to get in. We actually found out that was Senator Kavanaugh who drove out there to go to the Cornhusker, or the Corny Clink or whatever they want to call it. The concentration camp is what it is. And again, she was not able to get in to that facility. So we're still trying to figure out what's going on with the Cornhusker Clink. But again, we know that Nebraska is complicit with this whole ICE situation. And we just wanted to show this video. Again, shout out to RG for sharing this on Friends of, just how outrageous and ridiculous, and just the tone of, just watch this. I mean, just watch it.
In the United States, are you looking for the perfect holiday gift for your family? Then DHS has the best holiday deal of your life. It's the CBP Home app. It's free. It's fast. Just download the CBP Home app and fill out your information. We'll take care of your travel arrangements, and once you're home, you'll receive a $1,000 stipend. So don't delay. Join the 2 million illegal aliens who have already left. Download the CBP Home app today and get home for the holidays. Are you an illegal alien in the...
So there you go. That's what you call playing in your face.
Playing in your face. I mean, it's very similar energy, very similar tone, very similar rhetoric to the whole, Trump pooping on the No Kings protesters.
That's in the Homeland Security page.
Yeah, right? That's official. That's official. Yep.
So, playing in your face. Linda Lathan's cracking me up. She says, my grandmother would have told us all, don't concern ourselves with the likes of him because he's going to hell and gasoline draws on. I am so disgusted with this current leadership. Only his farms will be getting bailed out, I'm sure. Talking about Pillen, but this is endemic of the whole. I mean, it's our whole society right now. This is what we're on. We got 3 more years of this mess, and that's what it is. Oligarchs are coming for Buddy for real. It's we apologize for that. We had kind of a system in place. We know that those windows cause a lot. You're cutting out for long periods and then coming back in super fast to catch up. The internet is jacking you up right now. Again, we got to get back to the pad on the articles there. But yeah, we appreciate everybody who's along the same lines. At the last 4 minutes of the show, I kind of wanted to make sure that we hopefully switch a little bit of the tone, just to make sure that we are not just walking off, feeling like it's all overwhelming and there's too much and there's nothing we can do. This is supposed to kind of spur the fight and make sure that the fight stays in us in order to kind of battle some of these things. You get the information, you kind of got to go through a period of getting the information and feeling a little bit, heavy about that information, but also getting to that other side of it of like, okay, well, what's to be done about it here? So there's a few things. One of the takeaways that we had from our conversation with Senator Kavanaugh yesterday, which, like Buddy says, we'll be posting that soon. It's kind of a impromptu situation that we did there, and we'll have it on YouTube soon. But one of the things I was really thinking about was just the idea that the follow the money season that's getting ready to come up here in January is so fitting for some of the things that we talked about. Just really had me thinking about like what this really all means, and when you get it down to it's a heist. It's a power grab. It's a money grab. And that's what, then you don't have to wonder why somebody's doing something. If you know that this is what they're after, then it's a clear shot. It's a clear shot of understanding like why things are like they are and doing what they're doing. They don't make a move unless it's going to be something that's going to, fatten the pockets. And that's just that's where we're at. That's where we're at. So we'll be diving into that a lot next
AI Christmas magic.
Man. There's more points that we'll bring out here with that conversation we had with Senator Kavanaugh, but yeah, just some interesting stuff that we can go for. And the takeaway is that there is some things that we can do. She talked about the one thing that stood out for me was her saying a lot of people think that they can hit their representatives and change their mind about some things. And no, sometimes you're not going to change anybody's mind. You just got to get them out of that seat.
Yeah.
And she's trying to reiterate the importance of voting people in, and not just on the local level, but the national level as well. Sometimes you just got to get people out and get the right people in the seat in order to move the needle at all, which is really what it comes down to. So efforts, to me, instead of doing a whole bunch to show senators and politicians things that you hope will change their minds and hearts and go vote a different way and blah blah blah. To me, I'm going to take that energy and put it into who's the person that we need to get into the seat. Once that, how do we get this person voted out and this person voted in? And that was kind of one of the takeaways from me. But like I said, we're going to do some editing on that and then put that on YouTube. So be looking for that, our conversation. We actually got interviewed by Senator Michaela Cavanaugh. That was the whole premise of that. So I'll be looking for that. Also be looking for part 2 of Lanes of Change that is coming pretty soon as well. The strategic communication part 2 that's coming. Again, something else to look for on YouTube. Do us a favor, like and subscribe on there as well. I see Ariel's 4027. Have a blessed day. Appreciate you, Pop. Appreciate you, brother Mayor Sanchez. And hopefully you have a good day too. And thank you for always reminding me to tell people like and subscribe over there on YouTube, if you will. Appreciate that very much. And yeah, man, we'll have to just continue the conversation. Again, it always comes down to what are we going to do to try to help what we need to help. Well, we can start where we're at in the first place, which is to get the information first. We need to understand what we're up against and what we do have to use our fight for. And so hopefully we are moving that conversation along so we kind of know where we got to start. So I appreciate that very much. Christy Norris saying that the Nebraska Supreme Court will be taking up the NMM issue today. What's the MMM? Let us know what that is. Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. Any other updates like that, please put them in the chat or put them in Friends of First Guy Omaha. Anything that we need to be looking out for as well. It is Wednesday, and there's still some time in the week here for some of the things that's going on. So we definitely need to make sure that we stay up on that. One of the things that we forgot to mention was the Hungry Club is happening today at Big Mama's from 1:30 to 2:30. That's going down today. And also Shar Shelton is going to be the speaker there today. So if you're around for lunch, maybe make some plans to go to Big Mama's for lunch. The Hungry Club is back in action, and they have some great conversations over there as well. We can see what Miss Shelton is up to these days too. So again, this is at Big Mama's Kitchen, 2112 North 30th Street. You know where Big Mama's is at, and over there in the Highlander. Definitely check this out. Hungry Club goes hard. I really like that program they have there. And so hopefully you can go there and check out what's going on too. So yeah, continue the conversation for sure. Hit some of these things that are happening. Let me see if Christy Nor came back. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we need to know what the NMM issue is. Put that in Friends of First Sky Omaha, if you would, so we can kind of keep our eye on what you got going on there too. We appreciate you giving us the information. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. It's already 9:02. If you believe in the concept of time, we appreciate you guys joining us today. Buddy, you got some final words for the people?
Yeah, as always, man. Hopefully we did more good than bad. Hopefully driving more clarity than confusion. And of course, we're going to continue talking about these things and echoing that we all we got, but that's enough. Again, we come to the conclusion that we are going to have to mobilize, organize, and do it ourselves. But that's all right. We can do it. We've done it before as a community, as a people. We can do it again. In the meantime, between time, keep in mind that it is election season next year. So you don't have to wait to start, getting some people in position, getting some people in some seats. That does also play a role. But it, has to be all the things coming together to create the spaces and places that we want to see, man. So all the lanes, the political, the financial, economic, the organizing, the artists, everybody, we all have to come together to make this thing happen, man. So play your role, do what you can. In the meantime, between time, catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Hey. So with that, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away, man.
Right on. Pop says, as always, great show. Thank you. See you on Friday. Pops, I am going to play your little AI girlfriend here one more time before we get out of here, just so we can stay.
It's Christmas in the village at 24th and Lake, where the love runs deep and the memories are made. From the Big Tent Boutique to the cocoa we taste, everybody's welcome.
would just throw my keyboard in the trash. AI got it. AI got it.
Hey, man.
Appreciate y'all. Shout out to the Umaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders allowing us to speak before you. And shout out to you, chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. Appreciate all your comments today. Appreciate your respect for our guests today as well. I know it's a hot issue between a lot of folks that are involved here with the Friends of First Sky Omaha, but I see a lot of respect going back and forth, even if there's some disagreement, which is all good with us. So appreciate all of you. We will definitely get to some solutions at some point for a lot of the things that are happening. So we keep on plugging along, keep on fighting with it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for the fight. Thank you for being a part of the conversation and also being a part of the solution. I feel like we got a very special group of we've built this First Sky family. There's several hundreds of you guys out there that are all continually tapping in and trying to get informed and informing us and getting down to making some things move and shake around here too. Like Christy Knorr running for office. We speak to several people who are in that game working that. We need to get Justin Wayne on here. He had a post that he put out on Friends of that was like, okay, like, well, let's see what you're talking about, bro. Come on back in. So we'll put the call out to have him come and talk about some things that's going on because we're really ramping up to this Follow the Money that's coming up next season. So a few episodes left here. We're out of here on the 15th. In the meantime, between time, it's going to be cold outside. So please take care of each other. Check on your loved ones. Check on people that can't, that might need some help if they are in trouble. When it comes to being out here in this kind of cold environment. And that don't just go for like houseless people. That goes for all of us. It goes for the elderly people in our family that shouldn't be driving around in it, so on and so forth. Let's do what we can to help each other. Like Buddy says, we're all we got, but it's enough. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We'll see you on Friday with another special guest. Take care of yourselves. Peace.
By the way, Van Glorious. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any means necessary.
Christmas in the village. Yeah, Pops, 12th. You're right, not the 15th. We'll be out of here on the 12th. With that, we're out of here. Peace.